A metal probe drifted silently through space near Jupiter's largest moon. Inside its cold shell, alien computers worked day and night. They watched Earth from far away. They had been watching for 60 years. Commander Ziktar sat in his chair. On the Zephyrian warship, his 4 arms moved across the control panels. His yellow eyes studied the data that came from the probe. The information made him angry and scared. "Look at this," Ziktar said to his second officer. "The humans fight each other all the time. They drop bombs on their own cities. They kill millions of their own kind." The second officer nodded. "Yes, Commander. Our computers have recorded over 300 wars in the last century. These humans know only violence." On another ship far away, Scholar Vexani read the same reports. The Vortani were a peaceful race. They loved books and learning. But what they saw about humans made them shake with fear. They trained their children to fight. Vexani whispered to her assistant. "Look at these images. Young humans hit each other with their fists. They call it boxing. They enjoy watching others get hurt." The assistant pulled up more files on the screen. The probe also recorded something called football. Humans run into each other at high speed. They seem to love pain. Both alien races had made the same mistake. They watched human movies and saw only explosions. They studied human history and saw only wars. They looked at human sports and saw only violence. They never saw a mother singing to her baby. They never saw friends helping each other. They never saw humans cry when others got hurt. Captain Jake Martinez stood on the bridge of the exploration ship Aurora. He was 35 years old with brown hair and kind eyes. Jake had joined the space program to explore new worlds. He never expected to meet aliens. "Captain, we have something strange on our sensors," said Lieutenant Amy Foster. She was the ship's science officer. Amy was 28 with red hair and a quick mind. Jake walked over to look at the screen. "What is it, Amy?" "It looks like a probe, sir. But it's not from Earth. The metal is different. The power source is unknown." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This could be the most important day in human history. "Can we bring it aboard?" "Yes, sir. It's small enough to fit in cargo bay, too." The Aurora's robot arms reached out and grabbed the alien probe. Soon it sat in their cargo bay. The crew gathered around it with wonder in their eyes. Dr. Pete Collins, the ship's engineer, ran his scanner over the probe. "Captain, this technology is far ahead of ours. This thing has been watching us." "Watching us?" Jake asked. "Yes, sir. Look at these recording devices. This probe has been sending information about Earth back to whoever made it." Jake felt a chill run down his back. How long has it been watching? Hard to say, but the data storage suggests decades. That night, Jake could not sleep. He stood in his quarters looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, aliens knew about Earth. They had been studying humans for years. But what did they think of what they saw? 3 days later, the aliens made contact. A message came on all Earth's radio frequencies at the same time. The voice was cold and mechanical. It spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, we are the Galactic Federation. We have been watching your species. You will meet with our representatives. You will follow our instructions. Any hostile action will result in your planet being sealed off from the galaxy." Jake was called back to Earth immediately. He met with President Lisa Brooks in the White House. Lisa was a strong woman who had served in the military before becoming president. She was 42 with gray hair and steady hands. "Captain Martinez," the president said, "I want you to lead our first contact team. You found their probe. You understand their technology better than anyone." "Thank you, Madam President. What do we know about them?" General Ryan Mitchell stepped forward. He was a big man with scars on his face from old battles. Our intelligence suggests they see us as a threat. Their message was not friendly. The meeting took place on a space station that the aliens built in one day. It appeared between Earth and the moon like magic. The station was huge and made of strange blue metal. Jake led a team of 5 humans to the station. With him came Dr. Amy Foster, diplomat Maria Santos, security chief Danny Wright, and communications expert Kim Reyes. The aliens were waiting for them in a large room. Commander Zektar stood with 2 other Zephyrians. They looked like giant insects with yellow skin and 4 arms. Across from them stood Scholar Vexani with her assistants. The Vortani looked more like humans, but with purple skin and no hair. Humans. Zektar said in a voice like grinding metal, "We have studied your species for 60 years. You are warriors. You know only how to fight and kill." Maria Santos stepped forward. She was a small woman with black hair and a calm voice. "We come in peace. Humans want to learn about the galaxy and make friends." Vexani made a sound like laughing. "Friends? We have seen your history. You drop nuclear bombs on your own cities. You fight wars that kill millions. You create weapons that can destroy worlds." "That's not who we are," Jake said. "Yes, humans have fought wars. But we also build hospitals. We help each other. We explore space to learn, not to conquer." "Lies," Zektar snarled. "Our probes recorded. Your entertainment. You make movies about violence. Your children play with toy weapons. Your sports are just training for battle." Dr. Foster tried to explain. "Those are just games. Humans enjoy competition, but we don't want to hurt each other." The aliens did not believe her. They had seen only the dark side of humanity. Every war, every fight, every moment of anger had been recorded. But none of the love, none of the kindness, none of the times humans helped strangers. The meeting went badly. The aliens saw Jake's military uniform and thought he was a soldier. They saw Maria's calm confidence and thought she was planning an attack. They saw the team working together and thought they were a military unit. "The Federation has decided," Zektar announced. "Humans are too dangerous to join the galactic community. Your species will be contained to your own solar system." "Wait," Jake said. "Give us a chance. Let us prove that humans are more than what you think." Vexani whispered something to the other aliens. They talked in their strange language for several minutes. "Very well," Zektar finally said. "We will give you one test. If you pass, we will consider letting your species join the Federation. If you fail, Earth will be cut off from the galaxy forever." "What kind of test?" Maria asked. "You will. Learn soon enough. Return to your ship. We will contact you when we are ready." As the human team flew back to Earth, they felt the weight of their planet's future on their shoulders. Jake looked out at the stars and wondered what the aliens had planned. "Captain," Amy said softly, "what if we can't change their minds?" "What? If they've already decided we're monsters?" Jake put his hand on her shoulder. "Then we'll show them they're wrong. Humans are more than the sum of our wars. We just have to find a way to prove it." But deep in his heart, Jake worried. The aliens had watched Earth for 60 years. They had seen humanity's darkest moments. How could 5 people change 60 years of bad first impressions? The test was coming. Everything depended on what happened next. 2 weeks passed before the aliens called again. Jake Martinez was at home with his wife when the message came. He kissed her goodbye and flew back to the space station. This time, the meeting room felt colder. Commander Zektar stood with his arms crossed. Scholar Vexani held a data pad in her purple hands. "Humans," Zektar began, "we have prepared your test. There is a mining station called Kepler 7. It was abandoned 3 years ago. Now it has a problem." Jake leaned forward. "What kind of problem?" The station's life support is failing. There are people trapped inside. If you want to prove humans are not just warriors, you will rescue them." Maria Santos frowned. "Of course we'll rescue them. That's what anyone would do." Vexani made notes on her datapad. "The station is far from any Federation ships. You will go alone. We will watch how you handle the situation." Something felt wrong to Jake, but he could not figure out what. How many people are trapped? That information will be provided when you reach the station, Zektar said. "Leave immediately. Time is running out." Jake picked his team carefully. He brought Dr. Amy Foster because they might need medical help. Pete Collins came as the engineer to fix broken systems. Maria Santos would handle communications. Danny Wright provided security. And Kim Reyes would document everything for Earth. The journey to Kepler 7 took 3 days. The station sat alone in space, dark and quiet. It was shaped like a wheel with 6 spokes. Most of the windows were black. "Scanning now," Amy said from her station. "I'm reading life signs, but something strange." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "The biosignatures are different, not human." Pete looked up from his controls. "Captain, the station's power is almost gone. Life support will fail in 6 hours." Jake made his decision. "We go in. Prepare the shuttle." The team put on their spacesuits and flew to the station's docking bay. The airlock opened with a loud hiss. Inside, emergency lights flashed red. The air was thin and cold. "Stay together," Danny Wright said. He held his scanner in one hand and his sidearm in the other. "We don't know what we're walking into." They moved through empty corridors. Their boots echoed on metal floors. Then they heard voices. Weak voices calling for help. The voices led them to the station's medical bay. When the doors opened, Jake's team stopped in shock. The room was full of aliens. Not Cepharians or Vortani, but species Jake had never seen before. Creature with blue skin and 6 arms lay on a medical bed. Another alien with silver scales sat against the wall, holding what looked like a broken arm. A small being with fur and big eyes huddled in the corner with 2 others like it. "Please," the blue-skinned alien whispered. "Help us. The life support is failing." Amy Foster did not hesitate. She dropped her equipment bag and knelt beside the injured alien. "I'm a doctor. Let me look at your wounds." "Amy," Danny said quietly, "we don't know anything about their biology. You could make things worse. Or I could save their lives," Amy replied. She began scanning the blue alien with her medical equipment. "Pete, I need power to the medical systems." Pete Collins was already at the control panel. "Working on it, Doc." Jake activated his radio. "This is Captain Martinez to Federation observers. We have found the trapped survivors. They appear to be injured aliens, not humans." There was no answer. Maria tried different frequencies. No response. From the Federation ship's captain. Jake felt that wrong feeling again, stronger now. But there was no time to think about it. These people needed help. Amy worked on the blue alien's injuries. The creature had been hurt in some kind of accident. Burns covered his chest and arms. "Kim, help me with this medical scanner. I need to understand how his organs work." Kim Reyes put down her camera and helped Amy. "Is he going to be okay?" "I think so. His biology is different from humans, but not too different. The burns are serious, but treatable." Pete got the power working in sections of the station. Lights came on. The air got warmer. The aliens began to breathe easier. Danny Wright checked the rest of the station for more survivors. He found 2 more aliens in the engineering section. They were unconscious, but alive. "Captain," Pete called over the radio, "I've found the problem with life support. It wasn't an accident. Someone sabotaged the system." Jake's blood went cold. "What do you mean, sabotaged?" The main computer was programmed to shut down life support slowly. It was meant to look like equipment failure. The pieces fell into place in Jake's mind. The Federation had not found a rescue mission. They had created one. They had put these aliens in danger to test how humans would react. Jake was angry, but he kept working. His team spent the next 4 hours saving lives. Amy treated 15 injured aliens. Pete fixed the life support and power systems. Maria established communication with the aliens' home worlds. Danny and Kim helped move the wounded to safer parts of the station. None of the humans asked what species the aliens were. None of them demanded payment for their help. They just worked. The blue alien that Amy had treated first was named Kolvek. When he could speak again, he grabbed Amy's hand. "Why do you help us?" he asked. "Your Federation friends told us humans were dangerous. They said you only cared about fighting." Amy looked confused. "The Federation told you that?" "Yes. They said humans were coming to test their military skills on us. They said you would probably just take the station for yourselves." Jake felt sick to his stomach. The Federation had lied to these aliens. They had scared them and put them in danger just to see what humans would do. "We help because it's right," Amy said simply. "No one should die alone and afraid." More Federation ships arrived as the humans finished their work. Commander Zektar and Scholar Vexani came aboard the station. They found the humans sharing their food with the aliens and helping the weak ones walk. "This is not what we expected," Vexani whispered to her assistant. Zektar watched Danny Wright carefully bandage a small alien's injured leg. The big security chief was being as gentle as possible with the childlike creature. "They could have claimed this station," Zektar said. "Their military doctrine would support it. Instead, they give away their supplies." Jake confronted the Federation officers. "You put these people in danger just to test us." "It was necessary," Zektar replied. "We had to see how humans would react in a crisis situation." "And what did?" "You see?" Maria asked. Vexani looked at her datapad. Her purple face showed confusion. "We saw humans risk their lives for aliens they had never met. We saw a human doctor work for hours to save people she could not even talk to. We saw human engineers fix systems to help others, not to claim territory. Amy helped the last injured alien to a rescue ship. These people have families waiting. For them, that's all that matters." Pete wiped oil from his hands. "The station is secure now. Life support will work for months." Jake watched the alien survivors board Federation rescue ships. Some of them waved goodbye to the humans. The small childlike alien hugged Amy's leg before leaving. "This changes nothing," Zektar said, but his voice sounded less certain than before. "One test proves nothing. Humans are still dangerous." But Vexani was not so sure. She had recorded everything. The humans had shown no anger when they learned about the trap. They had not demanded rewards for their help. They had treated alien strangers like family. As the human team prepared to leave, Kolvek approached Jake. "Captain Martinez," the blue alien said, "my people will remember what you did here. If you ever need help, call us." Jake shook the alien's six-fingered hand. "We help because it's right, not for rewards." On the flight back to Earth, Jake's team was quiet. They were tired and confused. "Captain," Kim finally said, "why did the Federation lie to those aliens about us?" "Fear," Jake replied. "They're afraid of what they don't understand." Amy stared out the window at the stars. "Maybe we did change their minds a little." Danny shook his head. "Did you see how that Zektar looked at us? He still thinks we're monsters." Pete sighed. "At least we saved those people. That has to count for something." Jake hoped Pete was right. But he had seen the doubt in the alien's eyes. 60 years of watching human wars would not be erased by one rescue mission. The test was over. But Jake knew more tests were coming. The Federation would not give up easily. They believed humans were dangerous, and one act of kindness would not change their minds. But maybe it was a start. 6 months had passed since the Kepler-7 rescue. Jake Martinez now wore the uniform of an admiral. Earth had been building ships and training crews for what everyone knew was coming. The call came on a Tuesday morning. Scholar Vexani appeared on screens across Earth's command centers. Her purple face looked tired and scared. "Admiral Martinez," she said, "the Federation needs your help." Jake sat in his chair at Space Command headquarters. Around the table sat President Lisa Brooks, General Ryan Mitchell, and the heads of all Earth's military branches. "What kind of help?" Jake asked. "War," Vexani replied. "The Draketer Collective has attacked 3 Federation worlds. They have weapons we cannot match. They show no mercy to civilians." General Mitchell leaned forward. "Why come to us? I thought humans were too dangerous for your Federation." Vexani's face showed shame. "We were wrong about some things. But your species knows how to fight. We need that skill now." Jake thought about the irony. The Federation had rejected humans for being too violent. Now they wanted human violence to save them. "We'll help," President Brooks said, "but we do this our way." "What do you mean?" Vexani asked. "We fight to protect people, not to conquer territory. We fight to end wars, not to start them. Can you accept that?" Vexani nodded quickly. "Yes." "Anything. The Draketer are killing millions." 3 weeks later, Colonel Danny Wright stood on the bridge of the Earth battleship New Hope, around Earth's solar system. 50 human warships prepared for their first interstellar war. Danny had been promoted after Kepler-7. He was 38 now, with more gray in his hair. The weight of command sat heavy on his shoulders. "Colonel," called Lieutenant Kim Reyes from Communications, "we're getting reports from Proxima Station. The Draketer are attacking." Proxima Station orbited a red dwarf star 12 light years from Earth, home to 2 million Federation citizens from dozens of species. The station was also the Federation's main shipyard. "How long until we reach Proxima?" Danny asked. 4 days at maximum speed," replied Captain Helen Rodriguez, his second in command. Helen was 35, with black hair and steady hands. She had trained as both a pilot and a medic. "The station won't last 4 days against a Draketer fleet." Kim said. Danny made his choice. "All ships, emergency jump. We're going in fast and hard." The human fleet arrived at Proxima to find chaos. The Draketer had 20 massive ships surrounding the station. They were gray and angular, like flying weapons. Federation defenders were scattered and desperate. The Draketer looked like humans, but bigger and stronger. Their skin was pale gray, and their eyes were completely black. They had been at war with their neighbors for 300 years. "All human ships," Danny broadcast, "engage the enemy. Protect the station." The battle was fierce. Human ships were smaller than Draketer vessels, but faster and more clever. Danny's fleet hit the enemy from 3 directions at once. The New Hope traded fire with a Draketer heavy cruiser. Explosions lit up the darkness of space. On the station, millions of people watched and prayed. "Colonel," Helen called out, "Federation ship Harmony is going down. They have wounded aboard." Danny saw the Federation vessel spinning out of control. Its engines were dead, its weapons silent. "Can we reach them?" "Not without leaving our battle position," Helen replied. Danny thought for exactly 2 seconds. "All ships, cover us. We're going after Harmony." The New Hope broke formation and raced toward the dying Federation ship. Draketer fighters swarmed after them. Human pilots fought desperately to protect the rescue. "Got them," Kim announced as the New Hope's tractor beam locked onto Harmony, pulling them clear. But saving one ship was not enough. The battle was going badly. The Draktor had more ships and heavier weapons. Human courage was not enough against. Such odds dot, then something unexpected happened. The Federation fleet stopped running. They had seen humans risk everything to save the harmony. Ships from 6 different species regrouped around the human fleet. "This is Commander Zektar on the Federation cruiser Victory," came a familiar voice. "All Federation ships stand with the humans. Fight like they fight." The tide turned. Working together, human and Federation ships drove off the Draktor fleet. Proxima Station was saved, but the cost was high. 17 human ships were damaged. 3 were destroyed completely. The Federation had lost even more dot. Annie walked through the medical bay of Proxima Station. Human and Federation wounded lay side by side. Dr. Amy Foster, now promoted to Chief Medical Officer, worked on an injured Zephyrian soldier. "How is he, Amy?" Danny asked. "He'll live." Took shrapnel to the chest, but nothing vital was hit. Amy looked tired. She had been operating for 8 hours straight dot. In the next bed lay a Draktor prisoner. He was unconscious, with bandages around his head and arm. Sergeant Tony Adams sat beside the bed, sharing his lunch with 2 young Draktor children. Danny stared. "Tony, what are you doing?" Tony looked up with his mouth full of sandwich. "These kids were on that Draktor ship we captured. Their dad got hurt in the battle. I figured they were probably hungry." The 2 Draktor children looked like small gray humans. Their black eyes were wide with fear and confusion. But they ate Tony's food gratefully. "Sir," Tony continued, "they're just kids. They didn't choose this war." Danny felt something change in his chest. These were supposed to be the enemy. The Draktor had attacked first. They had killed Federation civilians. But these children looked lost and scared. Kim Reyes appeared with her camera. She had been documenting the battle for Earth's news networks. "Colonel, I need to show you something." She led Danny to a cargo bay that had been turned into a temporary prison. 60 Draktor soldiers sat on the floor, hands zip-tied behind their backs. They looked angry and defiant, but the human guards were not what Danny expected. Corporal Susan White was bandaging a Draktor soldier's wounded arm. Private Alex Johnson had given his jacket to an elderly Draktor who was shivering. Captain Rodriguez approached the prisoners with a translator device. "You will be treated according to galactic law," she announced in the Draktor language. "You will be fed. You will receive medical care. Your families will be notified that you are alive." One of the Draktor prisoners looked confused. "Why do you tell us this?" "Because it's right," Helen replied simply. Scholar Vexani watched all of this from the observation deck. She had come to Proxima to study human military tactics. What she saw instead confused everything she thought she knew. "I don't understand," she said to her assistant. "The humans fought with incredible skill and violence. They destroyed 3 Draktor ships. But now they feed Draktor children and heal Draktor wounded." Her assistant checked the recordings. The humans spent 2 hours after the battle searching for Draktor survivors in space. They risked their own ships to save enemy pilots. Vixani made notes furiously. "This makes no sense. Humans should hate the Draktor. The Draktor killed their friends." In the station's main hospital, Dr. Foster worked on a wounded Draktor soldier. The man had lost his leg in the battle. He would live, but he would never walk the same way again. "Why do you help me?" The Draktor asked through the translator. "I am your enemy." Amy looked up from her work. "You're hurt. That makes you my patient, not my enemy." The Draktor soldier stared at her. "My people would let human wounded die." "That's the difference between us," Amy said. "We don't." Commander Zektar found Danny in the station's command center. The Zephyrian officer looked different somehow, less angry. more thoughtful. "Colonel Wright," Zektar said, "I watched the battle recordings. Your ships could have destroyed the Director. Fleet completely. Why did you let them retreat?" Danny looked out the window at the stars. "Because enough people had died already. But they will attack again. They will kill more Federation citizens. Maybe, or maybe some of them will remember that we could have killed them all, but chose not to." Zektar was quiet for a long time. "This is not how my people make war. It's how humans make war," Danny replied. "We fight to protect others. We fight to end suffering. We don't fight for revenge." That night, Danny stood in the station's observation lounge. Through the wide windows, he could see repair crews working on damaged ships. Human and Federation crews worked side by side. Kim Reyes joined him with 2 cups of coffee. "Penny for your thoughts, Colonel. I keep thinking about those Director kids," Danny said. "They looked so scared. Tony's been visiting them every day. He's teaching them to play card games." Danny smiled sadly. "The Federation thinks we're warriors. The Director think we're killers. But we're really just people trying to do what's right." Kim sipped her coffee. "Maybe that's what makes us dangerous. Not our weapons or our tactics. Our belief that everyone deserves a chance." The next morning brought news that changed everything. The Director had requested a meeting. They wanted to talk about prisoner exchange, but they had made an unusual request. They wanted to meet with the humans who had captured their soldiers. They wanted to understand why human soldiers shared food with enemy children. Danny prepared to meet with Director representatives. He didn't know it yet, but this meeting would change how the galaxy saw humanity forever. The war was far from over. But something had shifted. The Federation had seen humans fight with deadly skill, then show mercy to defeated enemies. They had watched human soldiers risk their lives to save alien civilians. For the first time, some aliens. The alarm screamed through every Federation command center in the galaxy. Red lights flashed on 10,000 screens. The message was the same everywhere. Haven Prime was under attack. Admiral Jake Martinez stood in Earth's Strategic Command Center, watching the reports flood in. Haven Prime was the Federation's crown jewel, home to 52 million civilians from 47 different species. Children, families, artists, teachers, doctors, all of them now in terrible danger. "How many Director ships?" Jake asked. General Ryan Mitchell checked his datapad. "Over 200. It's their entire fleet, Jake. Everything they have." President Lisa Brooks joined them at the tactical display. "Where are the nearest Federation forces?" 6 hours away. "Minimum," Mitchell replied. The Director timed this perfectly. They knew the Federation fleet was spread out across 12 systems. Jake felt ice in his stomach. What about human ships? Closest is the Hope's Dawn. But Jake, that's not a warship. It's a hospital ship. The Hope's Dawn was Earth's newest medical vessel, built for humanitarian missions, not combat. It carried doctors, nurses, medical supplies, and Hope to places that needed healing. Captain Ben Rodriguez commanded the Hope's Dawn. He was 41 years old with kind eyes and steady hands. Ben had been a combat pilot once, but now he preferred to save lives instead of taking them. The ship's crew was small, but dedicated. Dr. Susan White served as chief medical officer. She was 34 with blonde hair and the gentlest touch. In the medical corps, Nurse Alex Johnson, 29 with bright green eyes, could calm any patient with just a smile. Child psychologist Dr. Carlos Mendez helped young survivors of trauma learn to trust again. "Captain," called Lieutenant Marie Clark from the communication station, "we're receiving the emergency signal from Haven Prime." Ben looked at the tactical display. The Hope's Dawn was only 2 hours from Haven Prime. Every other ship was hours further away. "Sir," said Commander Frank Davis, the ship's executive officer, "we're not equipped for combat. We have medical bays, not weapons. Emergency supplies, not ammunition." Ben studied the numbers on his screen. 52 million people, 200 attack ships. One medical vessel. The choice should have been easy. The Hope's Dawn should have waited for military backup, should have avoided a hopeless fight, should have stayed safe. "All hands, this is the captain," Ben announced over the ship's speakers. "Set course for Haven Prime, maximum speed." Dr. White appeared on the bridge. "Ben, what are our orders?" "We're going to save as many people as we can." The Hope's Dawn jumped to faster-than-light speed. Behind them, space folded and twisted. Ahead of them waited the largest battle in galactic history. Haven Prime was beautiful, even under attack. The planet was mostly blue ocean, with green continents. 3 space stations orbited the world like jewelry. Cities sparkled on the night side of the planet, but now Draketer ships swarmed around Haven Prime like angry insects. They fired on the space stations and the cities below. Escape pods fled in all directions. "Dear God," whispered Alex Johnson, "there are so many ships." The Director Commander was named Warlord Kresh. He was 7 feet tall with scars covering his gray skin. Kresh had fought in 30 battles and lost only 2. He believed in total victory or total death. "Destroy everything," Kresh ordered his fleet. "No mercy. No survivors. The Federation must learn what happens when they resist us." The Hope's Dawn dropped out of hyperspace right into the middle of the battle. Draketer fighters immediately turned toward the new ship. "Captain," Frank called out, "they're targeting us." "Evasive maneuvers," Ben ordered. "Marie, send a message to all civilian ships. We're here to evacuate survivors." The Hope's Dawn dodged between explosions and laser fire. It was not built for this kind of flying, but Ben pushed the ship to its limits. "First group of escape pods secured," Dr. White reported from the medical bay. 37 survivors aboard. Multiple injuries. "Keep them coming," Ben replied. The ship raced toward Haven Prime's largest space station. The station was breaking apart under Draketer fire. Pieces of metal and debris filled the space around it. "Ben," Susan's voice came over the intercom. "We have room for maybe 2,000 people total. There are millions on that station." "Then we save 2,000, Ben said simply. Alex Johnson worked in the emergency medical bay. Injured aliens from a dozen species lay on stretchers. A Vortani child cried for her parents. An elderly Zephyrian held his wounded arm. A group of small, furry aliens huddled together in fear. "It's okay," Alex told the Vortani child in her native language. "You're safe now." The Hope's Dawn made trip after trip between the dying space station and empty space. Each time, they rescued more civilians. Each time, Draketer ships fired on them. On the 5th trip, their luck ran out. "Shield generators are failing," Frank reported. "We can't take much more damage." Ben looked at the scanner. There were still thousands of people on the space station. One more run. "Sir, the ship won't survive another run. The people on that station won't survive if we don't try." Dr. Mendez worked with traumatized children in the ship's safe room. Some had seen their parents killed. Others had been separated from their families in the chaos. All of them were scared. "Will the bad ships hurt us here?" asked a small Draketer child. Carlos looked surprised. The child looked like the enemy soldiers, but she was just a scared little girl. "No, sweetheart. This is a safe place." "But we're Draketer. Why do you help us?" Carlos knelt down to her level. "Because you're a child. Children should never be hurt because of what adults do." The little girl hugged his leg. Around the room, Alien children from many species sat together. They did not care about politics or war. They just wanted to feel safe. The Hope's Dawn made its final approach to the space station. The station was almost gone now. Only one section still had power and air. There, Ben pointed at his screen. Emergency Bay 7. I count about 800 people waiting. The ship shook as Draktor fighters attacked again. Sparks flew from control panels. The lights flickered. Sir, we're losing power to the engines, Frank reported. Just get us to that docking bay. The Hope's Dawn limped toward the station. Its hull was cracked. Its shields were gone. But the crew kept working. Dr. White ran through the ship's corridors. All medical teams prepare for massive casualties. We're taking on 800 more survivors. The docking bay doors opened. Hundreds of scared aliens rushed onto the Hope's Dawn. Families carried injured children. Elderly beings helped each other walk. Everyone moved as fast as they could. That's everyone, Marie called from communications. The station is empty. Ben started to order a retreat. Then he saw something on his scanner that made his blood freeze. Another group of life signs, deep in the station's core. Wait, there are more people. Frank checked his readings. Sir, that section has no power, no air. They'll be dead in minutes. Or they'll be dead now if we don't help them. Against all reason, Ben flew the dying Hope's Dawn deeper into the braking station. They found 40 more survivors in an emergency shelter. The group included families with babies and several wounded Federation soldiers, but getting to them cost the ship everything. A final Draktor attack destroyed the Hope's Dawn's engines completely. We're dead in space, Frank announced. No power, no shields, no weapons. Through the bridge windows, they could see Draktor ships moving closer. Warlord Kresh's flagship was among them. Sir, Marie said quietly, they're hailing us. Kresh's ugly face appeared on the main screen. His black eyes showed no mercy. Human ship, you will surrender immediately. Your vessel will be destroyed. Your people will be taken prisoner. Ben looked around the bridge at his crew. They were tired and scared, but none of them looked like they regretted their choice. This is Captain Rodriguez of the Hope's Dawn, Ben replied. We are a medical vessel on a humanitarian mission. We have civilians aboard, including children. Kresh laughed. You have interfered with our battle. You will pay the price. Dr. White's voice came over the intercom. Ben, we have 3,000 and 47 civilians aboard. 47 different species, ages from 6 months to 93 years. Ben felt proud and heartbroken at the same time. They had saved over 3,000 lives, but now all those people would die because of his choice. Any last words, human? Kresh asked. Ben thought about his wife back on Earth, about the children in the ship's safe room, about Dr. White working to save lives even as death approached. Yes, Ben said. Tell the galaxy that humans do not abandon the innocent. Ever. Kresh raised his hand to order the final attack. The Hope's Dawn waited for Death Dot, and space around them exploded with light. The Federation fleet had arrived. Not just Federation ships, but vessels from dozens of species that had never worked together before. The aliens that the Hope's Dawn had rescued from Kepler 7 flew alongside Zephyrian warships. Former enemies fought side by side. Commander Zektar's voice filled the radio frequencies. All ships, protect the human medical vessel. They saved our people. Now we save theirs. The battle turned into a rescue mission. Every Federation ship worked to get the Hope's Dawn survivors to safety. They formed a protective wall around the damaged medical ship. Warlord Kresh found his fleet surrounded. For the first time in 30 battles, he was outmatched. Retreat, he ordered his ships. We will return another day. But as the Drakter fleet fled, something else. 3 months after the Battle of Haven Prime, the galaxy was different. The footage of the Hope's Dawn's final mission played on every news network across 100 worlds. Children who had been saved by human doctors sent drawings to Earth. Former enemies asked for peace talks. Admiral Jake Martinez stood before the Federation Council for the last time. The Great Chamber was filled with representatives from 63 species. But today felt different from that first meeting years ago. The Zephyrian seats were not all filled with warriors anymore. Some held teachers and doctors. The Vortani section included former Drakter soldiers who had defected after seeing human mercy. Even a few of the small, furry aliens from Kepler-7 had earned seats on the council. President Lisa Brooks sat beside Jake in the human delegation. She was older now, with more gray in her hair, but her eyes still held the same determination. "The vote is complete," announced Supreme Chancellor Veltar, a wise old being with silver skin and 4 arms. "The motion to grant humanity full membership in the Galactic Federation passes by unanimous decision." The chamber erupted in cheers. Species that had once feared humans now celebrated their inclusion. But Jake knew this was about more than membership. This was about understanding. Commander Zektar approached the human delegation after the ceremony. The Zephyrian looked very different from the angry warrior Jake had first met. His uniform now carried medical symbols alongside military ones. "Admiral Martinez," Zektar said, "I owe you an apology. My people judged yours based on incomplete information." Jake shook the alien's 4-fingered hand. "We all make mistakes, Commander. What matters is learning from them." "I have been learning," Zektar replied. "After Haven Prime, I requested transfer to medical corps. I wanted to understand what made humans risk everything for strangers." "And what did you find?" Zektar smiled, an expression that looked strange on his insect-like face. "I found that strength is not about how much you can destroy. It is about how much you are willing to sacrifice to protect others." Scholar Vexani joined their conversation. The purple-skinned Vortani carried a thick book under her arm. "Admiral," she said, "I have been writing a new study of human psychology. Would you review it before publication?" Jake looked at the book's title, "The Paradox of Human Nature: How Compassion Creates the Ultimate Warriors." "I would be honored," Jake replied. Dr. Amy Foster found Jake later in the Federation's medical center. She was now the director of interspecies medical research, working to adapt human medical techniques for alien physiology. "Jake," she said, "you need to see this." She led him to a ward filled with injured Drakter soldiers. These were former enemies who had been wounded fighting alongside Federation forces. Human and alien doctors worked side by side to heal them. 6 months ago, these soldiers were shooting at us, Amy explained. Now they fight beside us because they saw humans treating Drakter children as if they were our own. One of the patients, a young Drakter named Velkesh, recognized Jake. He struggled to sit up in his medical bed. "Admiral," Velkesh said in broken English, "my sister was on Hope's Dawn. Dr. Mendez saved her life. I fight now to protect what he protected." Jake felt his throat tighten. "How is your sister?" "She is well. She goes to school on New Terra with human children. She speaks your language better than me now." New Terra was Earth's first colony outside the solar system. It had become a symbol of cooperation, with humans and aliens building a new world together. Colonel Danny Wright found Jake in the observation lounge overlooking Federation headquarters. Danny now commanded the Joint Human Federation Defense Forces. "Penny for your thoughts," Danny said, using Kim Ray's old phrase. "Just thinking about how far we've come," Jake replied. "Remember when they thought we were monsters?" Danny laughed. "Some days I wonder if they were right. We humans can be pretty scary when we need to be. But that's not what changed their minds." "No," Danny agreed. It was seeing Tony Adams share his lunch with enemy children, watching Amy work 18 hours straight to save alien lives, seeing Ben Rodriguez fly a medical ship into impossible odds. Through the wide windows, they could see the construction of the new Federation Academy. Human and alien students would learn together there. The first class included the Draketer girl that Dr. Mendez had comforted on the Hope's Dawn. Kim Reyes approached with her camera, still documenting history as it happened. She was now Earth's official representative to the Federation Media Corps. "Admiral," she said, "I just interviewed a group of Draketer refugees. Do you know what they said?" "What?" "They said humans taught them that enemies can become family if you're willing to forgive." Jake watched construction robots and alien workers building the academy together. Maybe that's our real strength. Not our weapons or our tactics. Our belief that anyone can change. Frank Davis appeared on the observation deck. The former executive officer of the Hope's Dawn now managed the construction of new medical ships. Each one was named after a crew member who had died at Haven Prime. "Admiral," Frank said, "the first new hospital ship is ready. We're calling her the Susan White." Jake smiled. Dr. White would have liked that. She had died in the Hope's Dawns. Final moments, still working to save lives as the ship broke apart around her. How many ships are in production? 12 from Earth, 8 from Zephyrian shipyards, 4 from Vortani factories. Even the Draketer are building 3 medical vessels. The galaxy was healing. The same species that had once fought endless wars now worked together to save lives. Human ideas about mercy and compassion had spread like seeds on the stellar wind. President Brooks joined the group on the observation deck. "Jake, we just received an interesting proposal from the Outer Rim territories." "What kind of proposal?" "They want human advisors to help them establish peace treaties. Apparently, our reputation for fighting fair has spread." Jake thought about the irony. Humans had been rejected from the Federation for being too violent. Now they were sought out as peacemakers. "What did you tell them?" "That we'll send our best people. Starting with you." That evening, Jake stood in his quarters aboard the Federation flagship New Dawn. Through his window, he could see ships from a dozen species flying in formation. They were heading to the Outer Rim to stop a war before it started. A message appeared on his personal communicator. It was from Captain Ben Rodriguez's widow on Earth. "Admiral Martinez," the message read, "my husband always said that humans don't abandon the innocent. Thank you for proving him right. The galaxy is better because people like you never stop believing in what's right." Jake thought about all the people who had brought humanity to this moment. Amy Foster, working to heal aliens she'd never met. Tony Adams, sharing his food with enemy children. Ben Rodriguez, flying into certain death to save strangers. Susan White, treating patients even as her ship died around her. A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. Colonel Wright entered with a data pad. "Admiral, we've received requests for human peacekeeping assistance from 23 different systems. They all say the same thing, which is, they want people who fight to protect others, not to conquer them." Jake looked at the list of requests. Each one represented millions of lives that could be saved if ancient conflicts could be ended. "We'll need more ships, more people, more everything." Danny smiled. "Sir, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Do you know how many young humans have applied to join the Federation Peace Corps since Haven Prime?" "How many?" 2 million, including a lot of former military who want to use their skills to end wars instead of fight them." A communication alert sounded. The message was from the bridge. "Admiral Martinez to the command center. We're receiving a priority transmission from Earth." Jake and Danny made their way to the bridge. On the main screen appeared the face of a young human woman wearing a Federation medical uniform. "Admiral, this is Dr. Jennifer Walsh, calling from the outer rim colony of Harmony Station. "We have a situation here that requires immediate attention." "What kind of situation, Doctor?" "3 different species are fighting over mining rights. Children are getting hurt. Families are being separated. They need someone who can help them remember that they're all just people trying to build a better life." Jake looked around the bridge. Human and alien crew members stood ready to help. The same species that had once feared each other now trusted each other with their lives. "Set course for Harmony Station," Jake ordered. "Maximum speed?" As the new dawn jumped to hyperspace, Jake reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The galaxy had thought humans were unbreakable warriors who knew only violence. They were wrong, but they were also right. Humans were unbreakable, but not because they were made of iron and anger. They were unbreakable because they were made of love and hope and the stubborn belief that everyone deserved a chance at happiness. The galaxy had seen human strength and feared it. Then they had seen human kindness and understood it. Combination had changed everything. In the ship's medical bay, Dr. Alex Johnson prepared supplies for whatever they might find at Harmony Station. She was older now, with more experience, but her smile still had the power to calm frightened children. In the ship's school, Dr. Carlos Mendez taught young aliens and humans to work together. His students included the Director girl from the Hope's Dawn, now 10 years old and fluent in S.